talk about is something wonderful, something so special and makes our lives so good. And we're talking about vanilla. Welcome to the studios of 3RRR. Jennifer Boggiss, hello.
Hello.
And the very, very lovely, slightly curmudgeonly, sometimes a bit naughty, Matt Wilkinson, hello.
G'day guys, Matt, Cam, how are we?
Very, very well, better for seeing your face. Now, you were in Tonga to come to the plantation, didn't you not?
Yeah, so was it 2 weeks ago now? Very fortunate myself and head chef Jason to get taken over to Tonga by Jennifer and her family to meet their family business and what the amazing things they've been doing in Tonga, which is the vanilla plantation and process and the coconut plantation and process.
And we're going to hear about your impressions of that visit and how it got a little bit dicey getting off to make it to a food festival. But Jennifer, it's an interesting story how this plantation came about, and it was something that through the actions of your dad, was it not, that he was sounds like a very, very good Samaritan, and he was rewarded justly for his actions.
Yes, indeed. My father's a retired dairy farmer from New Zealand, and he's a great spear fisherman. And his 60th birthday he celebrated up in Vavau, and we all went up there. Yeah. And then there was a cyclone, and he went back and did a whole lot of rebuilding work, and that continued and has continued every year ever since.
Which cyclone was this?
Cyclone Waka on New Year's Eve.
Waka the Waka. Waka came through and
was very destructive.
As they are.
And following a couple of sort of trips of rebuilding work, the chief of the village said to my father, knowing that he was a farmer, what can we do here? We've got all these young people, they've got no employment opportunity. We want to create a business that, the whole community can take part in. So that's sort of how it started. So that was in 2002, the vanilla farm came to be.
So this was a magnanimous gesture by the chief. Because of what your dad did. And your dad really did some extraordinary things. He organised all these people that he knew. 60-odd. Carpenters, the chip.
Plumbers, electricians, sort of retired.
What's your dad's name?
John Ross.
John's Army. He got John's Army organised, didn't he? Right, John's Army, we're going to parachute them in. And they did enormous amount of good.
And they've continued to do, lots of projects, water projects, library, medical projects on outer islands. So yeah, they've done. It's not just in the village that we're in now.
Okay.
It's over the whole.
So how did John come up with the idea? He said, "You know what your answer is?
Vanilla."
Okay, so whatever.
Well, because of the location of the island, and there's no regular freight, so it couldn't be anything that was perishable. And it had to be something, due to the freight cost of getting it out of there, it had to be something that was fairly high value.
You need something that you can really value add, and nothing works like that than vanilla.
So and then he went on a bit of a vanilla worldwide journey, visited Costa Rica,
the
Reunion
vanilla
Island,
discovery tour.
Tahiti, Madagascar, and found out how to grow vanilla.
Yeah, right. How do you get vanilla? Where does vanilla come from?
It's a rather magical, mystique sort of story that it's an orchid plant. It has a flower that opens once a year, and it has to be hand-pollinated within about 4 hours of the flower opening.
The window closes very quickly on vanilla. Yeah.
And so it's hand-pollinated, it's no bees. And then 9 months later, like a baby, you get a green vanilla bean that just looks like a runner bean.
It looks like a green bean. Yeah. When you first see them, it's just like a bunch of a hand. It's like a handful of
fingers,
green fingers coming down.
And
that is actually the stamen of the flower or of the orchid. It's an orchid, and it's the flower.
Yeah,
and it's full of seeds.
Then yes, but there's no aroma or flavour or anything at that green vanilla bean stage. All the magic happens really in the curing process and the drying process.
So the way that I see it is that you take it, you harvest it,
Yes.
And then you've got to disrupt the cell walls. You've got to,
Yeah.
and that's why you steam it and heat it up, which ruptures the cell walls,
Yeah,
which
and
gets those phenolics happening.
Starts a fermentation process.
Is it
and then
oxidization or is it fermentation?
fermentation?
Oh, there you
And
go.
then they get wrapped up and sweated in airtight containers. We use old deep freezers that have not plugged in, so it's like a big airtight box.
Yeah,
and
right.
They get,
This is the one that Harrison Ford was able to survive a nuclear explosion in a movie. Anyway, it's in the fridge, so without the... Yep.
Yeah.
So,
And then-
so this is a great insulator because you need them to sweat. And this is the
yeah.
fermentation. This is where the magic happened. Goes
Yeah.
from green, no aroma, to black, amazing aroma.
over 3 months, and then they go out into the sun once they've sweated. Yeah, and again every night, just like little babies, put out to play in the sun, and then brought back inside to go to bed.
But it's such work, my God, because just in the growing, the establishing, you say, I'd really like a vanilla plantation. You look out on your land and go, yeah, it'd be really good to vanilla as you sip on your tea or whatever. The reality is that first of all, you have to grow plants that the orchid is going to attach itself to, don't you? Is that...
No, it's like a climbing orchid plant that you loop and prune and.
Oh, so
yeah.
you just got a whole bunch of trellis organised, did you?
Yes, we do coconut husk
Coconut
frames.
Hi.
Sorry.
Hi, Matt. yeah, what?
No, this story is fascinating. I'll let Jen talk about it.
But they're on coconut husk frames at
Oh,
our
that's a
farm.
first. Yeah, sorry, couldn't help it. But sorry, so unlike, I visited a vanilla plantation in Vietnam, and what they did was they grew another crop so that the vanilla could actually climb, and that took 2 years. Then you've got so you've done it on a trellis. How long before you get your first bean?
3 years.
Clock's ticking, yeah, right.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, I wasn't even really thinking about vanilla then. I'm an accountant by trade,
Really?
and my father was growing vanilla in some beautiful island.
Dad's
and
lucky
then,
to have you. The other side of things.
And then he's like, "Oh, we've got these 45 kilos of vanilla beans on 2005, and what are we going to do with them?" So I was a bit of a foodie. Took them back to a few chefs in New Zealand, and that's how it all started, really. And then I left my day job in 2008. So
Gotcha.
no longer an accountant.
Yeah, so this is now a full-time thing?
It is
How much are you producing now after all these years?
About 5 tonne last year, so 45 kilos to 5 tonne. It's not just our farm. Our farm's such a small part of it now. It's more about the whole of the Tongan vanilla industry and building, a great export income for Tonga, which is really, a country that needs strong export revenue that it doesn't have.
How do the others share in this wealth creation?
Well, we buy off growers, so they've got a ready market, which they haven't had before for their vanilla. So it sort of encourages other growers to grow vanilla, really, because it's not any farmer that can grow vanilla, like you alluded to before. You need a lot of patience, and it's an annual crop, so they haven't got like short-term crops like taro where
It's different from growing radishes, isn't it?
3 months you're going to get some cash. You're only getting a return once a year, so they have to be special farmers.
But what the guys at Heilala are doing is they start off with that village, and they've moved that village around. So Tonga being made up of 5 main islands, and each island, the Vavu area, is 155 islands. So working not just on that main island, like spreading the love throughout all of the islands on Tonga, main island, and putting a real group together of farmers to give them an industry, because there is actually nothing there.
No. Because I remember that's what your first impression when we saw each other recently. You were talking about Tonga, said, it's pretty poor.
Yeah, it was like, I've been to some poor countries in the world, but it was, in life, they're very, very rich.
Yeah, of course.
Such wonderful people, and the women, like everything in the world, are the hardest working. The guys are a bit like you, Cam. Sit back, a bit lazy, But the women are the real workers, and but they're such rich in life. But it is very basic. Like the food system, they don't really have a food cuisine. There's 4 dishes. There was one dish that was amazing.
There's what is it? There's
what's the
Taro.
The taro, cassava.
Cassava. That's for different stuff, though,
fish,
and the loo leaves.
Yeah.
And the what leaves?
The taro leaf type thing.
Taro.
That wrap stuff. But it's like corned beef, So there's this amazing vanilla, and they've got a sweet tooth, but they don't really have a national dishes. So
they haven't got a creme caramel or anything like that. But
amazing produce, like what they grow, the soil systems, and just the fish is stunning. But the fascinating thing was seeing the actual plantation. But when I was there, we went over and just cooking with vanilla, but just trying to showcase. Everybody knows vanilla is like a creme caramel, vanilla ice cream. We know
vanilla ice cream, which is bombarded mostly vanilla ice cream with artificial vanilla, which
which I think Jen should talk about, because that is that pure difference. It's like, truffles might not be for everybody. No. Gold might not be for everybody.
Right.
Well, I think it will.
I like white gold. Where are you going with this, Matt?
Something like a fresh vanilla bean or the vanilla paste there's a sensational aroma in there. So in the cooking, all I tried to showcase was it as a spice, like chocolate used to be originally. And now we just eat chocolate as a chocolate, or we see it as a dessert. One
of the best dishes I've had in my life was a prawn dish that had vanilla in it. Like, far as crustaceans go, my God, vanilla is amazing.
Yeah, well, if you think fish, butter, cream, vanilla, and then you think about, say, lobster thermidor. Like, one night I did the amazing crayfish, a vegetarian. Just in straight garlic, basil, parsley, Thai basil, parsley and vanilla butter, and just put them on the barbecue. Set the barbecue on fire, but hey. Amazing. So there was one dish that we did with coconut oil and the vanilla powder in a brown red rice salad with lots of chili through it. So you got a sweet, like there's elements of sweet, natural sweet tones in vanilla.
And the great thing about vanilla is it gives a dish great length too, doesn't it?
Yeah, and
it's persistence that makes it incredible.
I made a classic Thai red curry. And instead of using palm sugar, used vanilla flavoured sugar to balance, the sweet fish sauce flavour. And acid, and using the Tongan limes over there. Like, we went to the market.
So lime and vanilla works well.
Yeah,
there you go. So there's a great affinity there for you folks. So maybe if people want to think about using real vanilla in maybe a dish that's unexpected, what would you suggest?
Well, I think the first thing you've got to do is, if you can be bothered to make just straight custard. Yeah. Make a custard. Go buy a vanilla bean. Go buy, especially, I'm not doing anything, but go and buy a fresh Heilala
and we'll
vanilla
find
bean,
out where we can get them in a
or
sec.
the paste, right? Yeah. And then get the synthetic, just plain old, what we all know, $3 thing from the supermarket, right?
Yeah.
Make custard. Yes. You get 3 eggs. 100 grams of sugar, some vanilla.
Yes.
Say, what's that? So 500 mils of milk.
500.
Bring it to boil, pour it over, and then just taste the difference between the two. But first of all, before you do that, touch the vanilla bean, smell it, have a look at it. I think Jen's the best person to say what's the best.
Assess it.
Because I've seen some vanilla beans in supermarket and in really good places where they're selling, where it's like this dried,
shriveled up old
thing. It's like, well, that's great. Just blitz that and put that through sugar. But so I'll let Jen talk about how do you identify a good bean?
So just to paraphrase that, and I think Matt, old Scoop Steadman over here, has been busily writing this down. The fact is that think about it with crustaceans is really, really interesting. Prawns are probably a little bit cheaper than the lobsters that Matt's been throwing on the fire, but hey.
Kingfish, like I think sashimi, like tuna or kingfish sashimi, and put a little bit of vanilla bean through the citrus, like a classic
ponzu
citrus
type of thing.
Yeah, a little bit of vanilla through that is amazing.
It sounds good. Okay, now I've seen things in supermarkets, some that make me blanch. But the vanilla beans are very much the first thing that you showed me when we just met, and the first thing you did was you wrap the vanilla bean around your finger. Yeah, couldn't like do that with those supermarkets those things in the supermarket. How do we assess vanilla?
Well, the first thing is if you can wrap it around your finger like a ribbon and it doesn't break, and then the smell. And the aroma, and also the shine and the plumpness to a vanilla bean. It shouldn't be dull, and it should be quite moist.
Some say that some vanilla beans should have a frosting on the outside of them.
Vanillin crystals is a good sign. If they're like near a fridge or something, they get cold. The vanillin crystals appear,
and they condense out, do they?
Yeah, but
brilliant.
Sometimes it can be mistaken for mold, which can also.
No, it's not. No, it's very, very expensive mold because synthetic vanillin can be created, but the real thing is about 100 times more expensive.
Yeah, but it's a completely different flavour. It's like chalk and cheese.
It is indeed. Okay, so now how on earth do we find this? Maybe we should take a photo of this, Matt, so maybe people can recognise the brand. Where can we get it at the moment?
So Heilala vanilla you can find at Thomas Duck's stores, Coles Gourmet selections, and some selected Coles stores.
Coles Gourmet?
Yeah.
Didn't even know they had such a thing.
And specialty retail and deli stores. But they're all listed on our website, heilalavanilla.com.au.
If we're someone in food service, if we're a chef and we want, hey, come on, we're not paying retail, we want wholesale. How do we do that?
Just contact us through the website and we can either
Okay,
deal
we're moving.
direct or with our distributor.
Congratulations on this great industry that's helping so many people, that was started by a very, very generous act. So we should acknowledge your father and what he did for being a good human being. And from this plantation, reputations grow, and the islanders will grow with it. So it's a wonderful thing. Great product, wonderful story, and as Matt said, try the custard test. I mean, a real vanilla.
Custard.
Real vanilla. What did you say there?
Custard.
Custard. Try the custard test. You'll be amazed. You will. And Ian Bolson, no, it's that other one. The
Jeffrey Boycott.
Yeah, thank you. I always get them mixed up. 12:38. The night they invented champagne. We've got the perfect person to talk about that. Rita Ehrlich's in. I'm sure Matt's going to hang around for a drink. You hang around for a drink?
Yes, always.
Oh, thank you. And Jennifer, thank you very, very much for coming in. You want a little glass of champagne too?
I'd love a little
Oh,
sip.
well, come on, we're around
Sorry, I had a
here.
bottle.
All right. Stay tuned to 3 RRR FM. Rita Ehrlich is next, talking champagne.